Hey, Yvonne, how you doing today?
Good.
Excellent.
It's actually Yvonne.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry, Yvonne. You're very much correct for anybody watching. It's Yvonne, not Yvonne.
I wouldn't care because it's my mother's name. So.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, well, since we're already going in that direction, why don't you tell us and everybody viewing us a little bit about yourself?
I am a native of Denver. I've lived in Denver, Inglewood, and Aurora. Yeah, I love it. This is my hometown. What else? What do you want to know?
Well, what do you like to do for fun?
I'm a big movie buff.
Favorite movie of all time, go.
Oh, you can't. Can't. No.
No?
No, any big movie buff knows that you can't do that.
You can't do that.
It's like, no, because it's like, favorite musical, favorite animated, favorite, movie today.
No,
There's just such a range of wonderful movies. You can't pick just one.
Wow.
I can't even pick just one today, so.
Oh.
I love The Craft. I love...
The Craft is a good movie.
No, I mean the craft of movies, making movies.
Don't put that in the video. Excellent. So what we've come together today for is to discuss the things that we have encountered within our time of doing property management group. How long have you worked with ACCU so far?
So this time, I have worked with ACCU since September of 2021.
You said this time.
Yes, I worked with ACCU back when I was in college.
Oh.
My sister had was working with ACCU, and they were looking for some office help at Barclay Towers that is down on 16th Street Mall in Larimer. And I was attending college at Auraria campus. And that is how I started in property management. It was doing on-site.
Excellent.
And so I liked it. I liked it a lot. And I was doing on-site management for them. And then after I graduated, I got a little derailed with property management and decided that I should probably use my degree, which was in applied mathematics.
Okay.
And so I went off and did that for a while. And then I decided that I wanted to be more community service oriented.
Okay.
And I was working in nonprofit. And as you can imagine, there's not a whole lot of money working in nonprofit. And I worked for the state for a while.
No, there's no profit for nonprofit.
Yeah. And so, I left the state, and then I was really doing more volunteer work and doing a lot of nonprofit stuff. Mm-hmm. And I decided I wanted to come back to property management and do portfolio management because I felt like it was a good way to still serve the community and communities in the Denver metro area, but actually make some money at it.
Excellent.
And when I was working at the state, I actually had an opportunity to do a lot of work in conflict resolution. And so I like to think I'm very good at it. And I thought this is a really good arena to be able to use those skills. And it has proven to be a very good arena to use those conflict resolution skills. And having had experience with ACCU and knowing the culture here and knowing the Pfeiffers, I wanted to come back and work for them.
Now, you said you're really good at conflict resolution.
Yes.
And I don't know if anybody knows this, but we definitely deal with quite a bit of conflict, whether it be between homeowner to homeowner, board to homeowner, homeowner to ACCU, board to ACCU, or ACCU to ACCU. Mm-hmm. We still have to deal with conflict.
Sure.
All right? So going towards that and the conflict that we have had to endure or the things that you've had to do, tell me a story of the time that you've been the most proud of your conflict resolution skills.
Well, this was actually management to management. I have an association who has a cost share agreement with another association, and we came together to renegotiate that agreement, and it was clear that my board was a little more knowledgeable than the board that we were meeting with. And when that board realized that they were a little over their head in the conversation, they jumped up and were, ready to walk out and let the lawyers handle it. And I was able to, just calm them down. I was able to remind them, what the meeting was about. And the meeting was about coming together, learning what we know and what we don't know, and to remind ourselves, that it's about what we can do to save homeowners money and what their role was as elected board members to represent the homeowners and to be reasonable and to be adult and to come together and to have, intelligent conversations, and that was what it was for. And that, stomping out of their room wasn't really going to get anybody anywhere, and to just, let's just calm down, and, and I think it was just about reminding them, to take a deep breath and let's just be reasonable, and that nobody was meaning to insult anybody. But I think that what was going on is that we were finding out there was a lot that we all didn't know. And it was about not just putting something on the other board, but acknowledging the fact that we were all there to learn something. And even though that, my board really kind of knew what they were talking about, my board was also there learning that there was a lack of communication with the other board. So it was important for them to realize that there was a gap in communication. So even though my board understood, the legalities of the agreement and what was going on with, the Metro District, it was important for them to understand that the other association wasn't as knowledgeable and didn't have the same resources. And it was important for them to help the other board navigate that so they could work better together. And in the end, this other board is actually being really good to work with, and it's all working out really very well. And that other board is reaching out to us to ask us for resources and who can we talk to and what don't we know, and it's working out really very well. But
Yeah.
it was just about reminding people that, we're adults. We're reasonable. We can do this.
Yes,
We don't need to spend money on attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
No offense, attorneys.
I also like to remind everybody that the board members and everybody that's associated with that board or doing any kind of work on the property are volunteers. You know what I mean?
100%.
So it's like they're taking their personal time out of their day and they're putting themselves in the trenches, in the line of fire. You know what I mean? And really trying to get their community on par. And I think that's what we really need other homeowners to understand as well, is these board members they're meeting monthly, every other month, quarterly, and they're coming together to try to make the best decisions for your community. Really the best thing to do is remember their volunteers, have patience, be understanding, you know what I mean? Because nobody wants to experience what an association goes through if you have no board members. Remember this.
Absolutely. And don't forget that these are the ones that took the time to step up and volunteer for these positions.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that there are board members that might be a little self-serving, but they're still donating their time and talent, and they are still stepping up to do it. And you need those volunteers to do that. There's so many people that aren't willing to do it. And
this is what I like to say to the homeowners and the other board members and even property managers. The board is volunteer, all right? Have some patience with them. Be understanding of this isn't their full-time job, and be understanding of, okay, maybe they're not checking their email, maybe they need a phone call. It's really not that big of a deal. And if you remember, they're volunteers, they do not get paid to render this service for the community. I think it'll help you just approach things in a more patient and calm manner. Outside of the volunteer stuff and outside of the crazy conflict resolution that we have to do, we as property managers have amazing stories of the things that we have had to encounter, the things that have happened on these properties, and I know for a fact that Miss Yvonne over here has some amazing stories. So, Yvonne, if you had to pick your favorite story of the things that you've encountered within your time as a property manager, what would that story be?
Well, I like those homeowners with the sense of humor. I like the ones, I think one of my favorite stories was just this past year where a homeowner had their Halloween decorations up for too long, and I had to send them a notice letting them know it's time to take your Halloween decorations down. And they had life-size skeletons in their yard. And so I let them know, you know, it's 30 days past the holiday. It's time to bring those Halloween decorations down. And so they complied. And as soon as they were allowed to put up their Christmas decorations, those skeletons came back up with Santa hats and Christmas wreaths and Christmas lights and big old signs that said, "We're back." And I loved it. I'm just like, well played, homeowner. Well played. And
excellent.
Yeah, I love that. And I like it, you know, I like it when people can send me notices when I send them what they obviously are, you know, seem like very petty violation notices, and can make me smile and make me laugh, because, you know, I do get a lot of the nasty grams, you know, but when somebody can make me laugh and make me smile, you know, in my day-to-day rounds as the, you know, trash can Nazi, you know, I like it, you know, I appreciate that.
Yeah. And,
you know, and I appreciate, you know, I mean, there are a lot of stories that I can tell, but you know, just in general, I appreciate the nice neighbors. I appreciate the ones that'll wave to me as I come by, because, you know, there's a person behind these violation letters, and, you know,
we only do it because we're made to.
Yeah, I don't get any pleasure telling you that you have, you know, however much time to put your trash can away, you know. But I do appreciate the humor that I get from people, and I did appreciate the skeletons. And
nice. Speaking of holiday decorations, my goodness, people can get a bit testy when you ask them to take down their lights. Now, can't they?
Yes, they can. And I think that
why are we even asking them to take down their lights?
Why should they have Christmas lights up in February?
I mean, it's reasonable, but it's also within the rules and regulations.
It is in their rules and regulations.
And just to let everybody know, that is our main job. We enforce those rules and regulations that are outlined by your community and your board. They go into your governing documents, and we take those when we're on site and we enforce, you know? So
absolutely. And that is one thing to always remember. We are not the decision makers. We are never the decision makers. And I think that is a misconception. It is a misconception that, you know, the management company decides this. We decide nothing. We simply enforce the governing documents, and we serve at the pleasure of the board of directors. And your board may have some discretion as to, you know, maybe ease up on some enforcement. I do have some associations that are lenient as to, you know, basketball hoops, the portable basketball hoops. They don't enforce the summertime only rule that they have in their policies, and they allow them because they let the children play, as they say. So there's some discretion, but it's
one of those pick and choose your battles kind of situations.
Exactly, you know, and so I do what they tell me to do. But that said, yeah, I mean, some of the nastiest responses I've ever received have been over Christmas decorations, which I
was shocked.
Find ironic. I seriously, things I cannot repeat in response to Christmas decorations, and I was like, that is not in the spirit. And also, I do know that the tradition in Denver in the Denver metro area is to keep them up until after the stock show, but I do not control.
I've never heard
the schedule of the stock show. Everybody in Denver metro knows that those Christmas decorations are up until the stock show ends, but the stock show doesn't schedule around your covenants.
No.
So
I mean, okay, so we follow rules and regulations. We follow the governing documents. We follow the governance. And we follow basically the paperwork that gets handed to the property managers when we take over the property. You know?
Yes.
We don't make up the rules. We don't decide who gets in trouble for what. We don't do any of that stuff. This is stuff that should have been delivered to you at document delivery with your real estate agent. And if it wasn't, you should
shame on your real estate agent.
Shame on them. Okay.
And my line is always that I enforce equally and without malice.
Your documents may also be available on our homeowner portal with whatever company you would have. You know, we use Fancico over at ACCU, and we do have a homeowner portal. You know, so if you are with ACCU or thinking about ACCU in the future, then know that we have a homeowner portal. All your declarations and all your documents are right there, easy for you to find. So even if you don't get it during document delivery, shame on you, real estate agents, you should still have access to it. Okay?
And even if you do get them, these are electronic copies.
Yes.
So you don't have to worry about where you file those away with all your other closing documents. They're electronic copies, and they are there at your convenience.
So make sure you review those documents before you get angry with us, because we promise you, we like everybody. We're not doing that on purpose. We're just doing our jobs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is also what I tell people that get a little frustrated. When you move into a covenant-controlled neighborhood, you have to remember that you were out looking for a home and you found this, you know, whether it's a single family home or whether it's multifamily, you found a home and you thought this is a beautiful place. I could raise my family here, or I can, you know, be a single person living here, and it's beautiful and it's safe because of the covenants. And those covenants need to be enforced. And that means that people have to follow those rules. And that's not everybody but you. That is, everybody follows those rules. And just keep that in mind, that that is what attracted you to these communities in the first place. And
It's because how clean they look, you know?
Absolutely. And that's the thing. They look so nice, and they are so nice because those rules are enforced. And we don't expect you to do that yourselves because you're enjoying your lives living there. So you hire management company, you elect a board who hires a management company, and we do that for you. And it's, you know, it's not always fun. So, you know, that's why you delegate that, and, you know, just,
But it's adulting, you know?
well, it is.
So-
It absolutely is. And, you know, sometimes we're going to have to tell you to mow your lawn.
Yeah. And sometimes we're going to have to tell you to pull your weeds. And sometimes we're going to have to tell you that, you know, you have a leak that's affecting other people's homes.
And
All right?
sometimes you're just going to be really thankful that we told your neighbors
Yeah.
to pull the weeds.
See, me personally, when somebody comes to me and says, hey, I mean, what are my dues paid for? Like, why can't I paint my house? I paid $500,000 for this house. And I can reasonably say that because I just bought into an HOA. You know what I mean? It's right next to one of the HOAs that Yvonne manages. And, you know, you have the same struggles. You want to do all these things to your home, but you have to get permission from the board, which is through an architectural request. All right. But the thing is why? Why do we have to do this?
Well, because it's because you have to consider that, you know, there's an aesthetic that you want the community to maintain.
Yeah.
And you might wonder, why do I have to request these things? And you have to consider the lowest common denominator that might be living next to you that might want to do something absolutely ridiculous. You might feel that your request is reasonable, that the shade of brown that you might want to paint is absolutely reasonable, so you shouldn't have to put in your architectural request. While your neighbor next door might think that the shade of chartreuse is absolutely reasonable. So it's like, how do you differentiate, and who's to say that one request is reasonable and the other isn't? So that the board, or perhaps, you know, is the declarant who, you know, wrote the rules before, has determined that there are just approved color schemes, and that that is what is going to, you know, rule the neighborhood. Now, that said, I have seen it many, many times that if somebody doesn't get the color approved and it is absolutely reasonable, then what they've done instead is that they have submitted to the board to have that color added to the approved color schemes. And that's happened.
That's a nice compromise. I like
it.
it.
Absolutely expanded the color schemes, and then it was approved. So if it is reasonable, they can do that. And then now that it's part of the approved color schemes, absolutely go for it. And I have seen it happen many times. So that's something to consider, because it's not chartreuse and it's not salmon or something. So there are ways to get around restrictions, but that has to be reasonable. And boards are often very reasonable.
Yes, they are usually very, very reasonable. But
absolutely.
I mean, I want everybody to take just for a moment, just think about this. Like, how would you feel if your neighbor's house was bright pink, you know? Or if your neighbor's house had satellite dishes all over it, you know? Or let's say they had stuff hanging from their gutters, which is causing their gutters to pull down, you know? That's the reason why you have an architectural request. What a lot of people don't really understand sometimes is that the decisions of your neighbor can adversely affect the cost of your own home.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that bright pink house, you're right. They paid $500,000. They wanted to paint their house whatever they wanted. They painted it bright pink. Now your home costs less money than
people aren't going to want to buy that house when they're
because there's a bright pink house next to it.
and it doesn't even have to be a bright pink house. It could be a swimming pool.
It literally can be a swimming pool.
Right. It can be, it can be an oversized pergola. It can be a gigantic play set. It could be a lot of things. We've seen that people have done landscape design that has adversely affect neighbors because they didn't get approval and they're like, it's in my backyard. Why should you have to approve that? Nobody can see it. And it's like, because it adversely, affected the drainage into your neighbor's yard. And now that's a big problem. So, there's reasons for these architectural requests. We've started asking for people to put in architectural requests for roll-off dumpsters, even when they're doing interior remodeling. And that's, people don't realize why that's an issue. Well, the community was doing a very large landscaping project, and they had piled up a large amount of stone, of rock, that they were using to do some xeriscaping. And they had, the landscaping company had piled it in a way that blocked a homeowner from having a roll-off dumpster removed. And so he ended up having to pay extra for the roll-off dumpster, but he hadn't told us that he was getting a roll-off dumpster. So I didn't know that it needed to be picked up. And so he was furious. But I'm like, but you hadn't notified us. We didn't know that the dumpster was there. We didn't know when it was getting picked up. Had we known that was going to happen, I would have told the landscaping company, just so you know, please put this someplace else because this address needs to have access, to this large truck that's going to come in, because it wasn't blocking his driveway, but the truck couldn't maneuver to get this roll-off dumpster out. Yeah. And I'm like, I just, you didn't do what you needed to do, so we were unable to accommodate you. And it's unfortunate, but as petty as it seems that we want to know these things, we want to know these things also for your benefit.
Architectural requests are important for multiple reasons. But one of those reasons I really, really want to push on people is the way to use it as a form of conflict resolution with neighbors. As I said before, I literally have a homeowner who has some lights that they wanted to put into their common area tree. These lights were misconstrued by her neighbor as holiday lights, even though they're garden lights. And that can be a complicated thing. The colors of the garden lights, the shape of the garden lights, all this stuff can lead to some conflict between you and another homeowner or some confusion, right? And that's what happened. And now the homeowner claimed that they were there for a really long period of time. They had gotten permission previously from a board. But me, as a property manager, I need that permission to be in the form of an architectural request, because then I can pull that up and I can show a record 5 years ago that you got permission from a board, to have these lights up. And then that allows me to dismiss any conflict that you might be having with your neighbor, because I can literally pull that up and say, I see this architectural request that they got in 2015. You know what I mean?
And not just you. Yeah. I mean, what if you win the lottery and move to Belize and I take over that property?
You trying to get me excited?
And all right. I used to say, what if I get hit by a truck? I decided positive spin, move to Belize. If I take over the property and it comes up again, then I've got the architectural request. I can go in there and do a nice little search in our portal and look for, garden lights. And I don't have to think back about who was on the board, who had the conversation. It's all documented in there, and we can go in and find it. And you've done your due diligence by document everything, conversations, whatever, and even put in there, homeowner questioned or neighbor questioned homeowners, right, to have these, and that we have everything in there, so I can say, oh, I saw that this came up in 2023, and it's, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's actually a really good point, Paul.
Thank you.
You're good at this.
Hey, I might be a no-K property manager. You just never know.
Hey, I think ACCU knows a thing.
Yeah, I think ACCU might know a thing or two.
Yeah.
But those architectural guidelines and the things that you would need to put an architectural request in would, once again, that circles us right back around to governing documents, rules and regulations, your covenants, the things that if you buy a home within an HOA, it's really important that you take the time to read. And you're not going to remember it all. It's a bunch of legal mumbo jumbo. Shoot, even as property managers have trouble reading it, But at least if you take the time, you're going to have at least a foundation of understanding of what needs to be done within your community.
And it is our job to have familiarity with your governing documents, with your design guidelines. So if you are a client of ACCU and you are struggling navigating those design guidelines, you can give your property manager, community manager a call, and we can help you navigate those things.
Yeah.
The assistants can help you navigate those things and tell you what's appropriate, where to look, what those restrictions are, and help you, because we're not here just to tell you what you can't do.
No.
We're here to help you navigate the restrictions and help you figure out what you can do and how to get the approvals to move forward.
That I like the fact that you said navigate, because we're more than just enforcers.
Absolutely.
We're navigators.
Yes.
We help you sail that ocean of HOA.
Yes.
As it would. You know what I mean?
It goes back to my desire for community service.
Yeah.
Yes, to help, help the community.
If homeowners and boards and people in that, TikTokers and other people on social media, if they understood just how much we actually care.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The passion that we put into it and stuff. And the drive that we have to take care of your community. We don't want to be the bully. That's not what we want to do.
No, absolutely.
We just follow the rules and regulations outlined by your community.
Yeah.
Now, that circles me around to, I know over at CAI that you shared a beautiful story with everybody, and it really, really, really outlined, I really feel it outlined the passion that we have for people and for our communities and for what we do. If people think that we go home at the end of the night and are like, I just made a whole bunch of people angry. That just made my entire day. It's not the way it goes. You'd be surprised how much we go home, and we try not to carry these things with us. We really do. We try not to take things personally.
Paul, that story that you're going to make me tell has stuck with me for decades.
I know. And, but I think it's a perfect representation of how we care and how much we care, So would you be willing to share that story with our viewers?
I was doing on-site management for a condo building, and there was a lovely elderly woman. She lived alone, and she had a brother that she was very close to that would visit her. And when this brother would leave town, he would always let me know that he was leaving town, so that I was aware that she was alone. And me and the building engineer, would keep an eye on her because we cared for her. She was a very sweet woman. She was, for lack of a better term, a spinster, which actually I think is a fine term. I'm a spinster myself. And so we keep an eye on her. And this one time, her neighbors had been concerned about her because her papers were piling up, but she would go stay with her brother, and because it was a condo situation, you don't go into people's units. You respect their privacy.
Yep.
We're required to give us access to their homes, but you don't go in there. And so they hadn't seen her for a few days, and because I had not heard from her brother, he had not said he was out of town. I had just assumed that she was with him, as had been the case for the years that we worked there.
Right.
And it had turned out that he had been out of town, and he neglected to tell us.
Oh.
And when he returned, he found her, and she had fallen, and she had died. And
I see it on your face. It's good. I won't make you keep on going with that one, okay? But
we didn't go check on her.
Yeah. But see, this is a perfect example of, like, I'm sorry, Yvonne. I'm sorry I made you tell that story.
Right. It's a perfect example of
yeah, but we care.
we are horrible people because we didn't go check on her.
No, but you also care too because it stuck with you for so long. You know what I mean? That you cared so much. You know, we're not people who just don't. You know, just for me, I have something similar. It just recently happened. I have a gentleman who comes to the board meetings, the nicest man in the entire world, okay? He does fall asleep during the board meetings, and I would have to wake him up, you know, to let him go. And he just recently went missing from the community. You know, I had board members and homeowners who were concerned about him. They hit me up, and when I tell you, I went into full-blown panic mode because this man is the sweetest guy in the entire world. He comes to all the board meetings. I called hospitals. I called every single thing I could possibly call to help them find him. Fortunately enough, unlike your scenario, we were able to find the gentleman. He did have an accident where he fell down, you know, and he, you know, was at a hospital. So fortunately enough, I'm not having to go through the same thing you are, but that carried with me at home. Like, I thought about it, you know, like I thought about this gentleman. It literally brought emotions to me, and I may have lost a little bit of sleep.
I mean, there are so many times when I'm at home and I'm on the weekends and I'm thinking about things that are going on in communities, and I'm concerned about things, and it's about, you know, I mean, things like, you know, when we get storms, I mean, don't think for a second that when we're not sitting there, you know, hoping that, you know, that the snow removal is happening, and, you know, you sign these snow contracts, and it's like you have, you know, such ownership of your communities, and you know that your community is not the only community that these landscapers are servicing. So it's like, you know, when are they going to get out there? Have they gotten out there? Are they going to get out there again?
So you like being to use when the snow falls, you just send them all emails and stuff like that, trying to figure out, like, when are you going to be out there?
Exactly. And there's different, you know, different companies have different standards of what they provide. Some will sit there and say, snow is falling. We're going to, you know, letting you know that we need to be out there. And they'll send you pictures of what they're measuring. And then there's other ones that you never hear from, and you're just like, hello, you know, what's going on? Are you out there? What's going on? You know, and they're right. And so, yeah, we're not at home sitting in front of our fireplaces drinking tea. You know, we're literally, you know, wanting everything to get done because we take ownership of that.
That swings me around to a different point too, that I know a lot of people, I get that. I've gotten this a lot. I don't know about you, but I get homeowners who think because the service wasn't rendered by the contractor that somehow I'm obligated to go out there,
right,
you know, to shovel your snow and stuff like that. But what they don't understand is that actually creates a liability issue.
Oh, absolutely.
When I come out to the property, stuff like that, because you don't want me hurting myself.
Oh, no. I think there's a lot of liability issues that people don't realize. And I just had a conversation with a company. We were doing a landscape walk, and during the walk, it came to light that there was just one little strip of sidewalk during snow removal that wasn't being addressed. And the landscaper who also does the snow removal made it very clear that they need to be notified.
Yeah.
And they were just sitting there, you know, the board member mentioned the fact, well, it's just a little strip, it's not that big of a deal. And the landscaper made it very clear it is a big deal. Because if somebody were to slip and fall, if somebody were to have an accident, we have the contract for that little strip. It is on your contract, it is on our snow map, and then that comes back on us. That's a liability, and it comes back on me because that's my responsibility in the company. So make the call. Let us know that it might be, 4 feet that you think is no big deal, but it's a big deal. And I was really pleased to hear that vendor speak up and sit there and tell him, it matters, And that's another thing that I want to remind homeowners of. If you see something that isn't getting done, please don't just go on your Facebook pages and complain to each other. We don't manage through social media. The only way that your management company knows that snow removal might be lacking or that a sprinkler head might be broken and might be shooting off into the streets is if we are notified. And any management company worth their weight in salt has a 24-hour hotline that you'll be able to call, and they have an on-call manager that will be able to address things. And please, somebody make that call. I can't tell you how many times things have gone unnoticed by management. We're not out there every day. We are portfolio managers. We manage a number of properties. I go to one property weekly. The rest of them, I might be out there every 2 weeks. And if somebody doesn't tell me about these emergent situations, I don't know about them. So please make a call and let us know so that we know to have them handled. There's been too many times when I find out that people are complaining about and it's like, this has been going on for a week. And I'm like, how did I know that? And it's like, everybody's been talking about it on Facebook. Well, I don't follow your Facebook page. Yes. So please let us know so that we can handle it just as soon as possible.
Let your property manager know.
Absolutely.
Let your property management group know what's going on. Don't think that we're monitoring your Facebook page or your Twitter accounts or anything else like that.
And don't assume somebody else has made that call.
Yeah.
Because turns out, not all of it.
They probably didn't make the call.
But everyone else is assuming that somebody made the call.
You and me, we can talk all day long. We're good at that. So, but I think the biggest takes from today is one, governing documents. All right? Read your governing documents. Understand the rules and regulations of your community. Understand architectural guidelines so you know what you need to put an architectural request in for.
Those are the key things. Those are the things that are really going to affect you day to day.
Yeah.
Those are your design guidelines, your policies, and then other than that, know what your enforcement policies are.
Yeah.
So that if you do get a violation, know what that means. Know what you should do in that event.
Yes.
And then know at least where everything else is. So if it does come into play, you know where to find those documents.
Yes.
And
another good take from this is your property managers care.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We're not there to be bullies. We're there to do our job, and our job is to help keep your community beautiful, by helping enforce the rules and regulations, which the community and the board and everybody has worked so diligently to put together, So remember, read your rules and regulations, and we are not there to bully you. We're just there to help maintain your community and keep it beautiful. All right? So don't think that we're there to bully you. We're not trying to pick on anybody or anything like that, and understand that mistakes can be made.
Oh,
okay?
Absolutely.
A violation can get sent to the wrong person, and we have zero problem with correcting it.
Absolutely.
You contact us and stuff like that, just say, hey, I think there was a mistake made, and we're going to be like, you know what? Our bad. Sorry about that. Let me correct this for you.
Absolutely.
So.
And another thing, it's okay if you're mad when you call.
Yes, it is.
It is. I
That's passion.
Completely understand.
Okay.
If something makes you angry, it would make me angry too.
It's passion.
And it's okay. But just remember, I'm just doing my job, and I'm okay with you being angry, but also try to be reasonable.
Well, thank you, Yvonne, for joining me today. Like I said,
Hey, thanks, Paul.
couldn't thank you enough. You know what I mean? You do a lot of
Anytime.
work here and stuff like that. You do strong work with your homeowners and stuff, and we really do appreciate you.
Thanks,
and stuff.
Paul.
You're very, very welcome.
I appreciate you doing this. This is important. I think
you.
that people really need to have
All
a
right.
good understanding
So,
of
you're welcome.
management.
Well, thank you for thinking.
ACCU.
You know, but until next time, everybody, all you homeowners and board members and stuff like that, just remember that we are ACCU, and we like to reimagine community management.
Yeah.
All right.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.